Hey guys, welcome back to Karting with Chris. Today's video is going to be the Spring 2 pre-final race here at Lone Star Kartpark. So we're going to start off with some qualifying here. Coming out of the pits, we're going to let everyone in front of me. I don't want anyone to be slowing me down, so I'm going to let everyone in front of me. I'm going to try and establish a giant gap and make sure we don't get slowed down. Now, for this qualifying session, or for this race, I'm only going to do one lap of qualifying because I want to start at the back of the pack, make things more interesting. Sometimes these races can be quite boring if you're at the front of the pack the whole time and you get a really good kart. So we're going to start in the back of the pack, but I did pay for qualifying, so might as well just do at least a couple of laps of qualifying. So I'm going to go very slow for this, I guess, warm-up lap. And then after this lap, as soon as I hit the start-finish line, I'm going to floor it, do one really fast lap, and then come into the pits. So at this point, I'm going quite slow. I'm not even using the brakes. Corner workers are looking at me funny. They probably think my kart's broken or something, but I assure you my kart is not broken. I'm just going really slow on purpose. But coming out of this corner right here, I'm going to floor it because this is going to lead onto the main straight. And one thing I don't know about my kart right now is that the brakes don't work. So if you've seen my last LSK video, whenever you push the pedals all the way forward, the brakes get caught, and so you don't have brakes. And I accidentally did that. So I've got full throttle, but I don't have full brakes. So going into this first corner right here, I'm going to hit the brakes. Nothing happens. I go really wide of the apex. And now I'm going to have to basically drive this entire track with no brakes. Fortunately, like I just said, I do have experience with this, so it's not the end of the world. And LSK, you really don't need that much braking at this track. There are only really 2 or 3 corners where you really need the brakes, and you don't really touch them for very long, so it's not the end of the world. We do catch up to someone, which did surprise me, because we gave ourselves quite a bit of a gap to make sure that didn't happen, and yet we still caught up to someone, so that's kind of telling me we probably won't get in last place if we're passing people on the first lap. So that is one lap done, and that's as many laps as I did. This is basically just going to be a cool down lap here. And with that one lap, I managed to get 13th out of 15 once all qualifying was over with. And unfortunately, we were aiming for 15th, and we got 13th. So I guess we just gotta try a little bit harder. I mean, I gave myself no brakes, but I guess we're just that good. But we're gonna move on to the pre-final race. You don't want to see the rest of this. So we're now starting the pre-final race here. We're in 13th out of 15, like I said. We're gonna pull off to the side here. We're gonna let the guy in 15th pass me. I confused the hell out of him, I could tell that. So he gained 1 position, free of charge at the very beginning. I mean, I just made this guy's day. But now we're truly starting in last place, just to make things interesting. Now, for those of you new to LSK, you're not allowed to warm up your tires during the formation lap. You're supposed to stay in formation for the entire warm-up lap. I don't even know why they call it a warm-up lap if you're not allowed to warm up, but if they see you weaving, they'll penalize you. Fortunately, I'm starting in the back. There's no one behind me, so I'm just flooring the gas, then putting on the brakes, flooring the gas, putting on the brakes. This is also telling me if I have brakes or not, which is a good thing to know. And so this will warm up my tires a little bit more than just driving very slowly around the track. Now, since I'm starting in the back, I have a lot of different options for the strategy to the start of this race. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fall back a little, kind of get a slingshot just to pass everyone. Like they're sitting ducks, kind of really time my momentum correctly. And I can also pick which side of the grid I start on. So I'm going to start on the left-hand side of the grid because that's going to be the inside for the first couple of corners, and we don't want to be caught on the outside. So we're about to go down the start-finish straight here, waiting for that flagman to wave green. Flagman waves green, we're good to go. So right off the bat, we're going to go to the inside, and we're going to pass about 6 people before we even get into the first corner. We're up into 9th place. Going into this tight left-hander right here, the door is open. We're going to go for the inside. Now we're up into 8th place. So going into this left-hander up here, there are a fair bit of karts behind me, so I do go slightly defensive. Didn't feel like going for the dive bomb there. I felt like that would have been quite inappropriate. Going through this double right-hander, I do get tagged from behind. Wasn't too bad. We're still in 8th place. But looking further ahead, we can see there are still plenty of positions to be had. So we are on lap 1. Makes sense. But going through this left-hander right here, we can see some carts are hitting each other. They are going side by side. I accidentally hit one of them as well. The guy in the orange helmet goes a little wide, and so we're going to dive up the inside. We're going to gain 7th place here. And so on lap 1, we started in 15th, moved up into 7th. That's a net gain of 8. Not too bad. Let's see what we can do on lap 2. Going through this left-hander right here, the person in the red shirt opens the door for us, so we're going to follow him. And so we thank him for that, but fortunately going through this second left-hander, we're just going to send it up on the guy in the red shirt. You know, you make friends one corner, and then the next corner, you betray them. But we're up into 5th place now, and so we can see the top 4 in front of us, so we're doing good. Hopefully there isn't too much fighting, or else we will not be able to get that first place, because that is our end goal by the end of this race. Going through these next couple of corners here, the guy in front of us, for some reason, just goes really wide. That's not the line, bud. And so we easily sail up the inside, and now we're up into 4th place. Now, the top 4, including myself, we all have pretty decent carts. I already figured out I had a pretty decent cart. That's why I'm passing everyone. You can see down the straights I might have a little more top end than them. But one thing I noticed is that the 3 in front of me, and including myself, so the top 4, we all had pretty similar carts. I noticed that down the straights, I really wouldn't catch up to them too much, and they wouldn't really pull away from me. So from here on out, it's going to be a little harder to catch up to them. That's how racing works. The further up you go, the longer it takes to catch up to people. So I'm not going to bore you with how long it took me to catch up to them. But what I will do is walk you through my fastest lap for those of you interested. So for this race, I think I set the fastest lap of the race. I don't remember what time it is, but I think it was the fastest lap. So we're on lap 5 here. The track's really easy. Most corners are full throttle. This corner, of course, is not. It's quite wide, though, so you can get on the gas pretty early. Same with this left-hander right here. You can get on the gas pretty early. The rest of this should be full throttle. Again, just try and be really smooth. The track is crazy bumpy. I don't know if you can tell by now, so being smooth is very ideal. And then this left-hander up here, this corner is not full throttle, so you can use a hint of brakes if you'd like. Get on the gas early. That's a huge thing around this track, getting on the gas early. And then the rest of this is full throttle. Just try and be smooth, but also efficient with your line. I don't know what my time was, but it was, I think, the fastest of the race, so clearly I had a good cart. But I have caught up to the guy in front of me. I'm just going to send it going into this left-hander right here. Further back, I saw him look behind him, and so he knew I was there, so I knew he wasn't going to turn in on me. Going through this left-hander right here, I do go defensive because that is a very popular spot to pass people. But now we're in 3rd place. We're on that podium position. Up ahead, we can see the top 2 are quite close to each other. I was actually noticing that they weren't working together. They were actually fighting a fair bit, so this is going to help me try and catch up to them. So we're going to skip ahead a couple laps because even though they are fighting, it did take a while to catch up to them. So we're about halfway through lap 8 here. You can see they are trading positions back and forwards. This is definitely slowing them way the hell down. And we can see up ahead there is a back marker too, so that's going to slow them down as well. We can see we're basically within striking distance here. Going through this left-hander right here, the back marker goes out wide, doesn't slow anyone down, which is good of him. You can see some contact was made there, and so I don't think this guy in the gray helmet was too happy about that. Going down the straight here, I looked for the move here, thought better of it, but he turned his head, he saw me, so that's basically him saying go for the move. If he looks at you, then go for it, because then if he turns in on you, it's his fault. So going defensive through that left-hander back there. Gonna not go defensive through this second left-hander. I didn't feel like he was close enough. So now we're gonna try and catch up to the next cart in front. In front of the leader, there is another back marker, so hopefully that back marker slows the leader down, but also doesn't slow me down because there is 3rd place right behind me still. Now, there are no blue flags at rental league races. I don't know why, but there aren't. So I don't know if this back marker knows we're the lead pack, but he does kind of move out of the way, so that's good for us. The guy in first gets too much of that apex going down the straight here, and if we pause the video right here, we are in first place. And if we cross the finish line right here and finish the race, that is a last to first challenge completed. But unfortunately, we still have one more lap to go. Now, a key thing to note is that although you can't see it right now, the flagman is not waving a white flag. So none of us know we're on the last lap. Now, unfortunately, the guy who was in third got a good run coming out of the last corner. And the guy who's in first, who's now in third, goes for one hell of a dive bomb into this left-hander right here. I didn't think that move was on. That's why I didn't defend it. He obviously did. He's up into second place now. Could have gone for the move through that left-hander right there. But again, I didn't know we're on the last lap here. So had I known, I probably would have been a little more aggressive right now. But we can see the guy in first. He's already kind of pulling away. So I don't want to make too many mistakes because I'm thinking we still have a couple more laps to go. But I obviously want to get in front of this guy in second because I know I'm faster than them because I did catch up to them. But unfortunately, we're rounding out the last couple of corners here, and we're going to see the checkered flag. And I'm going to put my hand up in frustration here because, you know, I was kind of upset that they didn't throw a white flag, but it is what it is. So we started in 15th, worked our way up into first temporarily, and then dropped down to third. I think I could have gotten first had I played my cards correctly, even if I did know there was one more lap to go, but there still is a final, so anything can happen in the final. We're starting in third in the final, so that's not a bad place to start at all. You can still do very well in third, so not totally upset with this race. I will be posting that final later, so make sure you're watching out for that, but that's all I'm going to have for today. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, please do comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.